What if I told you that we'd seen the movie unfold in real life? What if I told you that a fighter really embraced the character of Rocky Balboa? His hardships, his misery.
Recover. Oh!
What if I told you he didn't just pick the name, but rather he earned it? Well, fight fans, today we'll be going through the exciting journey of the current undisputed UFC Welterweight Champion, none other than Leon "Rocky" Edwards. Born in Jamaica in 1991, Leon Edwards grew up in one of Kingston's poorest neighborhoods. He lived in a wooden shack along with his parents and brother. Growing up, drugs, violence, and gunshots were so common that he grew numb to them and started perceiving them as normal. I guess that's what happens when your own father's a gang leader. In an attempt to turn his life around, Leon's father moved everyone to the UK. Rocky was just 9 years old when the family landed in Birmingham.
Came to the UK at the age of 9. My dad came first. He came for like a few years, remarried. Then they brought me, my mum, and my brother to Birmingham.
We all know the saying that old habits die hard, as once again his father got involved with drugs and gang-related activities in the UK. Ultimately, this led to Edwards' father getting murdered while partying in a nightclub. Imagine how traumatizing this could be for a 13-year-old. This was the moment when things took a nosedive. Following his friends, he too got involved with gang life. Edwards called his mid-teens his darkest days, and he was involved in nearly everything, from street fights, robberies, and even stabbings. And that's where he earned the nickname Rocky. Fortunately, his life would get better. You see, when Leon was 17, his mother took him to a local MMA gym in hopes of driving away his bad influences and diverting all his energy into something useful. At that point, Edwards was so corrupted that the idea of fighting fair seemed unfamiliar to him. Luckily, a few classes were all it took for the coach and his colleagues around him to see that fighting came naturally to Leon. This man had raw talent. Eventually, fight offers started coming in and Leon grabbed onto the opportunity. Rocky, although known for his striking ability, won his first ever MMA fight by submission via armbar against Carl Booth in 2010. Shortly after, Edwards signed with local MMA organization Fight UK in 2011 and won his first 2 fights, but got disqualified in his third bout, landing an illegal knee.
To the edge, and we see Leon's corner.
Big left
corner
hand.
out there, and there's a left hand, and there's a big knee.
Later on, he joined Bama and went on a 6-fight winning streak.
This is bad times for Damien as Leon postures up and is looking to land strikes, and the referee all over the...
As if this wasn't enough, he would become the welterweight champion of the promotion by the end of 2014. This put the MMA world on notice and brought him to the UFC. Edwards made his UFC debut in November 2014 against a fighter who was highly experienced in jiu-jitsu by the name of Claudio Silva. Although he ultimately lost that fight by split decision, it wasn't all bad for the Jamaican fighter. The fight exposed a lot of holes in his game, which he took measures to correct and improve on his footwork. In his next bout, Leon exploded, making quick work of Seth Basinski by TKO.
Sí, Basinski ya empezó bastante.
¿A dónde le dicen a Basinski?
This earned him his first Performance of the Night bonus. After adding another win to his record, defeating Pavel Pavlak, Edwards came face-to-face with the Nigerian Nightmare. Leon was handed his second loss in the octagon, dropping a unanimous decision to Usman.
For the winner by unanimous decision, Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, Usman.
This fight showed the Jamaican that he had to work on his wrestling, particularly his takedown defense. After losing to Kamaru, he decided to do some training at the famed American Kickboxing Academy. Rocky then went on a dominant run in the UFC. We would witness him shut down Dominic Waters, cruising to a unanimous decision win. Albert Tumanov became a victim as well, whom he finished by submission via rear naked choke. Leon was starting to look like a complete mixed martial artist. His precision striking, along with his improved defensive wrestling, was making him a formidable opponent for anyone. Despite the winning streak he had built up, UFC fans still didn't think much of him. They thought that Leon was a jack of all trades and a master of none. Where's all the hype? This took a toll on Edwards, as he felt he was not getting the recognition he deserved. Deciding to put all that behind, Rocky moved on to a more challenging opponent, Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone. Donald already had a well-accomplished career and was loved by the masses. The fight clearly showed how much the Jamaican improved. He was in control most of the time, stuffing Cerrone's takedowns and countering them with elbows. Leon would end up winning by unanimous decision, extending his win streak to 6.
For the winner, Leon Rocky Edwards.
Continuing to wreak havoc in the division, Edwards then collected his 7th win over Gunnar Nelson. And soon enough, he faced his biggest challenge yet, in the face of the Brazilian standout, Rafael dos Anjos, a former lightweight champion. We saw a similar thing happen here, as continuous takedown attempts by dos Anjos were unsuccessful, and we would see elbows as punishment. With his 8th win in a row, the man could not be denied a shot at the title. That same year, Kamaru Usman won the belt, and it was clear that Edwards wanted his chance to avenge his early career loss. In a series of uncontrollable circumstances, the global pandemic happened and the COVID-19 virus put a stop to almost everything. Due to COVID restrictions in the UK, Leon was forced to sit out for a year and a half, waiting for a chance to get his shot at UFC Gold. After realizing he was not getting the next shot, he took a fight against Belal Muhammad, a rising contender who was an excellent grappler, using his wrestling to suffocate opponents. This was it. This was a chance for Leon to prove that he never left. The fight started out promising as Edwards attacked aggressively, giving Belal no chance to react but to move away from trouble. Then, disaster struck. Just 8 seconds into the second round, Edwards accidentally poked Belal's eye.
Big spots against the sport's best. Oh, another poke. Oh, it was a poke in the eye.
It was so bad that the doctors put an end to the fight, resulting in a no contest. This broke Leon, feeling as if he's lost his momentum and everything he's worked for. Itching to get back into the octagon as soon as possible, Leon Edwards would take a fight against one of the biggest names in the UFC, Nate Diaz, at UFC 263. The fight was unfolding in his favor, as he controlled Nate during the first 4 rounds. In typical fashion, it would appear that Rocky would cruise to another decision, but no one expected what would happen near the end of the 5th and final round. Diaz managed to land a beautiful 1-2, leaving Edward on wobbly legs.
Boxing.
Now the crowd was excited. This forced Leon to cover up, trying to ride out the rest of the round, while Nate showboated and tried to put it on him. However, he isn't called a Rocky for nothing, right? The Jamaican survived until the final bell, pulling through and getting the win.
Final seconds of this 5-round affair. Wow.
This finally sealed the deal. After 9 consecutive wins, Leon was granted a shot at the title, setting the scene for his epic rise at UFC 278 against Kamaru Usman. Even though the two had already met before, things were very different now. Usman was now the defending champion, on the verge of making history. It was pretty evident from the public's reaction that they were writing him off. This put a huge chip on Rocky's shoulder and just motivated him more. Usman took control of the fight from the start, going for submissions and ferociously throwing punches at Leon. The judges scored the first 4 rounds in favor of Kamaru. Leon, on the other hand, was still throwing those same 1-2 combos which Usman used to slip to his right as a defense against the southpaw fighter. Till this moment, it was as if he didn't have an answer for Usman's wrestling and aggression. Leon's corner urged him, telling the man to switch it up and stop feeling bad for himself.
Listen, you gotta get lively now, Leon. You're 2 down. Come on.
Those words pierced Leon's heart, and in the 5th round, we witnessed an upset for the ages. In the last minute of the 5th round, Edwards threw a jab, following it up by faking a left cross, resulting in Usman slipping to his right. And at that moment, Leon threw one of the most memorable high kicks ever seen to knock out the Nigerian Nightmare.
From which he is cut. I mean, that is a dejected.
The crowd erupted. People couldn't believe their eyes. Against all odds, Leon Rocky Edwards had done the impossible. He proved everyone wrong.
Declaring the winner.
To settle the score between the two, Usman was given an immediate rematch at UFC 286 to complete the trilogy. But this time, Leon showed that he had the upper hand. Edwards knew how to defend every takedown attempt, and through his accurate striking and mental edge, was able to secure a majority decision and defend his title for the first time. Rocky now looks to defend his title at UFC 296 against Colby Covington, who in my opinion, may be a tougher opponent than Kamaru Usman. You see, Colby's style is high volume and high pressure, which we've seen Leon struggle against before. Edwards likes to keep his distance so he can throw those sniper kicks. Covington, on the other hand, likes to go for the takedown set up by his punches. Leon should be looking for body shots at this point and see if it can slow down Colby's impressive cardio. What will happen? How will Rocky handle his new challenger? Only time will tell. Well, that's it from our side. If you want to see Rocky in action and witness him pull through another challenge, make sure to tune in on December 16th for UFC 296.